what was it like to get that footage? Like, did the team that was shooting back at Camp, it's Jeanette, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you stayed in touch with them? How was it finding that footage? Because that can't be easy, I imagine. It's not easily sourced footage.
Well, the People's Video Theater is the group that shot the footage, and they were a radical video coalition in the very, very early days of portable video, literally like the first year of it. And what they would do is these pop-up video theaters. So they would go to a community in New York and they would film people, and then they would play the footage of them back to themselves immediately. So people were seeing themselves on TV for the first time, which was really transformational for people and really exciting. And they felt like that was a community empowerment, like a political community empowerment tool. And they literally stumbled with their equipment into a gas station in the Catskills and ran into a van full of campers and counselors who said, hey, you guys should come and shoot the Camp Olympics. And then when they got there, the gate was shut, and they were like, somebody said, oh, the camp's closed down for a bit, but it'll be reopened later. So they just sat down in the grass and dropped some acid and were hanging out. And a few hours later, this was 1971, a few hours later, somebody came back out and said, okay, you can come in now. When they came in, instead of the Olympics, the camp was in the middle of the crabs outbreak that was started by a couple of amorous counselors. And sheets were all over on the lawn, and the swimming pool was full of sheets. And these guys just turned their cameras on and started filming, and they stayed for days, and they recorded all this material. And Jim had a memory that the crew had been there, and there had been a short crabs tape that had floated around on Manhattan cable television. But we couldn't remember the name we didn't know the name of the full name of the group or who was in it or how to track them down. And we just did a ton of internet sleuthing because, the idea, given that we wanted to make a film about this story, that Jim had a memory that they had handed him the camera and strapped the old Porta-Pack on the back of his chair, and he had filmed this camp tour, was just like, oh, we have to find this, And luckily, when we finally tracked down Howard Gutstadt, who was part of the People's Video Theater, we're in the East Bay, as we were discussing, and Howard was in San Francisco, and he had all the footage. It had survived 17 basements that it had been put in over time.
Wow.
And not only that, but he had just gotten a grant, and he and his colleague, Ben Levine, were halfway through digitizing the footage at the Bay Area Video Coalition.
Wow.
And so it was all intact and all beautiful, and we helped them, get the money together to finish the digitizing, and then they just delivered us this hard drive, and nobody knew what was on it. Nobody could remember what had been shot. So all of those scenes that you see in the film, the round table where Jim's leading the round table, and everybody's talking and interacting, Jim, you didn't even remember that had happened, right? So it was just like an awe-inspiring, magical, this is meant to be kind of thing, to discover that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was such a good basis for all the story. People seeing this when they showed the shot of when you guys showed the shot of the the TV there, and that you could see your hand moving on the screen. I'm like, I remember having that experience, and that's it's such a neat story. I mean, that they were so. First year of using portable video. I mean, just what amazing. I would say luck, but it sounds like it's deeper than that. Pretty amazing. And then all the rest of the stuff was mostly from newscasts. And I mean, as it starts getting more political in the stories, is that mostly true? Because it seems like it goes between some black and white, some color, and then some amazing film at times. So that you guys had to hunt all that down as well, I imagine.
Yeah, we did, and that was really hard to hunt down. It took years, actually, and it took real diligence. We had some brilliant archival researchers working on it. We had an incredible associate producer, Lauren Schwartzman, who just completely dedicated herself. And, none of that was in it wasn't like, oh, here's the 16 rolls of footage of the, takeover of the federal building, which lasted 26 days, which is kind of a centerpiece of the film. It was like, okay, here's a tape that's unlabeled in a cardboard box in the basement of an archive that happens to have about 6 shots on it because some guy was maybe going to make a film one day, and 2 of those shots we can piece together with these other 2 shots, which we found in an old documentary somebody made in the 70s. I mean, it was very not well archived, not well taken care of history. I think it was history that had kind of been like swept away and forgotten about, which is pretty shocking when you see the film and when you come to know the story. It's like, this should be one of the great stories of American history that we're all really proud as part of our heritage. And instead, it was very, very hard to scrap those things together. And our editors just did an incredible job, piecing things together so that they felt fluid and so that it felt like there was a little bit of continuity from that really immersive video at the camp. We had to kind of shift the perspective so that instead of it feeling like our people were part of the video making process and it was very intimate, it kind of becomes in the second part of the film more like, oh, we're finding our people now in footage that other people shot, which I think I think that's compelling too, right? Because like all of a sudden you realize these people you came to know as scrappy teenagers are becoming, historical figures doing something of real consequence that's being seen by news cameras. But that was filmically, that was a kind of a hard transition to make.